everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome to my first ever book haul. So I kind of hoped going into this channel that I wouldn't have too many book hauls because I've talked about the size of my collection before. I've got a lot of books. I don't need to buy a lot more books because there are so many. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that I own that I haven't read, and that's a little bit excessive. But at the same time, I'll get there. I love it. But I'd been really good last year and not done all that much purchasing, and I was kind of hoping to keep it on, and it took 6 months of Booktube before it finally got to me, and I've got a little bit crazy the last little while. So what I'm going to show you are purchases from December, some books I got for Christmas, and also some purchases from early January. I have quite a few, so I'm not going to go into any great detail for a lot of things, although just watch me, I'll probably get there and start waffling and make a humongous video. We'll just see what happens. So starting with the Christmas stuff that I got, I did get a few things for Christmas. There are the ones that you've seen already in my Booktube Secret Santa unboxing video that I got from the lovely Eleanor Reads Books, and my actual gifts that I got for Christmas from my family. The first one that I got, and I've mentioned before and have started, is South of Darkness by John Martian. This is his new adult fiction novel. He was one of my favourites as a teenager. This is the story of a young boy who is kind of a street urchin in London in the late 1700s, and he hears of a paradise that is Botany Bay, and so he commits a crime to be transported to the penal colony of Australia at the time to you know, live in this paradise. But I don't think being transported as a convict would be the best way to paradise. The next book is something that I've seen on a few people's channels, but I hadn't really seen it at the time that I saw it in the bookstore when I was doing some Christmas shopping, and it was all shrink wrapped, so I couldn't look in it, and it was so intriguing and I wanted to know what was inside. And so that is The Strange Library by Haruki Murakami. The reason I think it's shrink wrapped is because it's got this pocket on the front that's like a library card pocket, and so it would get torn if it was, you know, out with the public being able to touch it. But inside is a lot of little pictures and things. When I got it, I had no idea what it was about. I hadn't looked it up. Now that I've read the little blurb inside of it, I'm completely intrigued. I don't know whether to say anything about it or just leave you in the dark too, but hoping I can get to this one soon. And then the third book I got for Christmas was The Rosie Effect by Graham Simsian. This is the second book, the sequel to The Rosie Project. I am both excited and nervous about this one because I enjoyed the first book so much, and I'm wondering whether the second book is going to live up or whether it should have just stopped at one. So I'm really intrigued about that, but I am really looking forward to getting to this one, as well as I'm going to say a million times in this video. And then I'm going to show you something that I actually gave as a gift for Christmas, not one that I received, but I grabbed it to show it this because I'm really excited about it myself. And that is Pioneer Girl by Laura Ingalls Wilder. This is the new autobiography that they've just released, and it is kind of the original one that she had wanted to get published, but they weren't interested in that story. They wanted it, and they eventually became her Little House on the Prairie books that are more aimed at children and are a lot more sanitized. This is the unsanitized, realistic, gritty version of her life in that era, and I'm really interested to see what she says about it all. So they were all the books that I got or gave for Christmas, so now we're just on to the Tanya went book shopping portion of this haul. So first, a couple of things that I've mentioned in my February TBR video that was just filmed and will go up before this one. Things that I purchased recently and hopefully will be reading in the month are The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss and The Lies of Lachlan Morrow by Scott Lynch. These are two that I picked up before I found out that we're going to be part of Fantasy February this month, so it's perfect timing. But things that I've seen a lot of hype about on Booktube lately, things that have been on my radar for quite some time, and fantasy. So a lot of this haul is the Booktube Darlings edition that I've just kind of become very sheep-like, and I've gone out and bought a lot of the things that are big on Booktube, but they're things that I'm really interested in. And so it was different when I was watching a lot of the YA area of Booktube, and I started reading quite a few things that were popular there, and there were a few things that I just, no, I can't take that much YA. Now that I've found this area of Booktube where we're talking about very different things from the YA section, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I do still enjoy the occasional YA book, but now that I've found a very different area of Booktube that I think I fit much better into, I'm not so worried that I'm jumping on bandwagons all the time. So, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love all of this. Next up is something that I have read already, but not the second book yet, and I had picked up Ancillary Justice and Ancillary Soul by Anne Leckie. Again, this is something that's been championed a lot on Booktube lately, and I read this one for the Blank Space Book Club last month, and loved it, blew my mind. Can't say anything but gibberish about it because I don't think I can even attempt to describe the plot, but really intrigued to continue on with Ancillary Sword and see what happens for Break next. Okay, after talking about getting away from the YA area of Booktube, the next thing I do have is a YA pick, something that I've heard really, really great things about and again has been on my radar for a while, but I think the thing that really tipped me over the edge was Emily and Emily Jean's Grinch tag, where she talks about spoilers for this, and so muted if you're, not wanting to hear the spoilers, and her antics while she's muted, and I'm just watching it going, what is she talking about? And I really want to be able to watch it and read this book to get the spoilers for that. It's not the only reason, but I think that's really what tipped me over the edge, and when I saw the full set in the bookstore I went, I might just buy that. And so for those who have already watched Emily's Grinch tag, you'll already give a guess this is the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. So we've got The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monsters of Men. Next, another one that's been huge on Booktube lately, that is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and I knew when I saw this cover that I had to have this one. The American one that everyone has is okay, but look at this thing. When everyone started talking about this and I started seeing tweets and things going past and they're talking about the whole plague that knocks out a huge chunk of the population, I kept thinking of The Stand by Stephen King, which starts with a similar premise, but I think things go very different from there. Everything that I've heard about this makes me think that this is right up my alley. I'm really going to enjoy it, and yeah. Next up I have quite a left field pick, but it is something that I did hear about on Booktube, and that is Popular by Maya Van Wagenen. This is actually an autobiography written by Maya, a teenage girl who was one of the unpopular kids. And so when she finds a 1950s guide to popularity, she decides to follow what's in it and see what the results are. And I think she might just be my spirit animal. And also, that sounds incredibly brave. So I'm really intrigued to read this and see it. High school wasn't my happiest time, and the latter years were good, but the early time was really unsettled and not a lot of friends. I know it's the usual experience for kids, but like I said, I think this might hit home. Next up, I have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Again, hugely popular on Booktube. Again, jumping on the bandwagon, although I did read The Secret History quite a few years ago now, really enjoyed it, do want to read some more stuff by her, so it's not just that I've purchased it because Booktube is making noise about things. And also when I saw that they had this format, that they brought it out in the smaller format paperback instead of the huge big trade paperback or the huge hardback, I thought this was a nicer compact edition that, yeah, I like the look of it, and I bought it. Next, and again in a smaller form of paperback, I have The Limerys by Alana Catton, who is a New Zealand author. This one won the Man Booker in 2013, and I really don't have anything to say about a lot of these. I just have heard such good things, and I'm really, really excited to give them a go. This is going to be the worst book haul ever. Next up, I have Lost and Found by Brooke Davis. Brooke Davis is actually a local author where I live, and I was going to go to the book launch for this, but when I went to the bookstore, the queue was right at the door and kind of snaked around the bookstore, and I just went, no. So I missed out on getting a signed copy, but I have recently picked this up. This follows the story of Millie, a young girl who, after her father dies, her mother ends up abandoning her in a shopping centre, and also follows the story of an elderly woman and an elderly man and how their three stories come to intertwine. And I think it sounds really lovely. I've read a sample of the start of it before the book launch, and I am really intrigued to know what happens next. Next up are a couple of things that I didn't even know had existed, and I came across in the bookstore and immediately had to get them, and that is two short story collections by John Wyndham. So we've got The Seas of Time and Consider Her Ways and Others. These, as I said, are two short story collections by John Wyndham, who's kind of a classic sci-fi author. He wrote The Day of the Triffids, and I've also read The Midwich Cuckoos and Chucky by him. He's one of my favourites. I really wanted to read more of his stuff. I own quite a number of books in these editions, and when I saw that more of his works have been released in these editions, I immediately have to grab them. And then the last one is something that I want to read right now, and I've got all these other things to read and am so excited about, and yes, has been huge on Booktube lately, and it sounds so fantastic, and that is The Martian by Andy Weir. This is a story of a man who is abandoned on Mars after the rest of his crew believe he are dead, and that just punches you in the stomach before you've even started. And I just want to know his story right now. So if you've read any of these, tell me about it, and if there are any that I should prioritize and read right now, let me know. So as always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!